Thanks for joining the HomeMatters podcast with Eric and Gena Boggs, where they lead authentic, raw discussions about marriage, family life, kids, intimacy, and sex from a biblical perspective. Now here's your host, Eric and Gena Boggs.
Well, welcome to episode
19.
19. Is that what we call them?
Yeah. That was the way
HomeMatters.
The way you started was kind of like, ooh, like slow-mo.
Yeah.
Are we doing this podcast in slow-mo?
Well, you know, it's a time of year where things are cooling down and it's headed into the
Cooling down
holiday
outside.
season.
Yeah, speeding up with that. You're headed into the holiday
Time
season.
is moving. And again, we're only a couple of weeks away from Turkey Day and
Turkey Day,
Thanksgiving and all that good stuff. Man, great time. I love it.
I love this time of year
wonderful
too.
Time of the year.
Sing to me, baby, sing.
It'll be kids jingle belling and everyone telling you be of good cheer before you know it. Sounds like a song, but
yeah, I think you should. I think you should go with that.
We're at that time, and again, everybody's pushed a little bit. I think we're kind of the subject today. Kind of fits in where we're at, and not just now, but all the time. I think that maybe you can slow it down. We try to slow it down.
We try to, yeah. Even as you know, as Eric and I pastor at Beach Springs Church, we try to. It's a crazy season, you know, with lots going on, but we do try to slow down a little bit, especially during those weeks of the holidays, and spend some time with family. But
so today the subject is I don't have time.
You ever said that?
Yeah. Yes. Maybe on a daily basis. I say.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I feel like I say
I don't have time for that.
You got time for that? I don't have time. Can't do it. I don't know how I'm going to have time. That's kind of the phrase we use. I don't see how I'm going to get it all done. And honestly, I feel like it's kind of the culture we live in. I feel like everybody says that. You know, some people say, can I just be honest for a second? You care if I'm honest for a second?
Yeah, I do care. I would rather you be honest every second, all the time.
I know. I'm just saying, you know, some people, when I hear people say I don't have time sometime, and then I look at their life, I'm thinking, I'm just thinking like, you don't even, I mean, what do you do? You ever look at people and you're like, what do you do? I don't know. That's probably ugly. I shouldn't say that.
Well, again, I think that is something that everybody can get caught in. Yeah. There are a lot of things that clamor for our time. There are a lot of things that
absolutely things and
pull.
People.
And you know, again, the reality is you can't make any new time. I can't borrow time. I can't save 4 hours from Tuesday and plug it in Friday.
Boy, that would be nice, wouldn't it? Friday's a long day, so I'm just going to borrow from
Tuesday. Tuesday, a 20-hour day, and Friday, a 28-hour day. It'd be nice, but
it ain't
that ain't the way it works. And,
nope.
You know, Jesus, I think, taught us that if you really look at his life, one book I pulled from at one time was, I think the title of it, Life at 3 miles per hour, how Jesus...
I remember. I don't know if that was the title.
I don't either, but again, how Jesus lived at a slower pace, and again, he walked everywhere he went, and in that, the time that it took, and today we zoom here, there, everywhere, and
just the time he took to sit down and stop with people. You know, I look at that with my own life. How many people do you rush by? And you know, I as a believer, you know, I thank God he'll kind of quicken you in your spirit when you need to stop. Yeah. And even in that, sometimes you're thinking, but I don't have time to stop. You know, I got to get this done, get that done. So this just today, we always say, we just want to encourage you in your family life, in your walk. And this is just kind of an encouragement today, or maybe just some questions for you to think about, especially as we go into this busy time.
Something that just
be aware of.
Just consider, and again, maybe it'll stop you.
Yeah.
Maybe it kind of at least
just
get your
make you
attention.
More aware.
Yeah, to say, hey, you know, that's me. That's our life. That's that's the way we run life, and maybe I just need to realize it. So we ask some questions here. You know, what do you do with your time?
Yeah.
Everybody
We all
has the
have
same amount.
That's right.
Right. Everybody's on the same, that one commodity that is offered to us, and that second or that minute or that hour, that day that we're given, everybody spends the same thing. And again, I think we have to look at, what are we doing with our time?
That's right. Or to whom are you giving your time, or to what? What takes up all your time? Is it? And I know they're tasks that we have to carry out, but how much of our time is taken up with really meaningless type things?
Yeah, we talk about managing money, managing
stewardship,
people, managing family, but a big part of that is managing our time.
So true.
Again, stewarding that.
Stewarding it, and that really comes down to whether you let your schedule control you or you control your schedule. I mean, I know a lot of times we just kind of get pushed from one event, one thing, one check off to the other when really we're the ones that's supposed to steward that. We should know what we're doing. And I know things come up.
Sure.
But still just that stewardship aspect.
I think that when you live your life with some parameters or some direction or
that's good.
You don't want to be just so mechanical with a schedule all the time. We are to a great degree because we have to. But at the same time, you have to have boundaries that you live within.
Right.
And again, Henry Cloud, I've mentioned him several times lately, but again, that book, Boundaries, he talks about the things that we're able to say no to and things we say yes to.
Right.
And creating these boundaries or these parameters for our lives to flow into. I've always said it this way: if you want a move of God in your life, then don't think that just happens without some structure.
Yeah,
there has to be some structure in your life. You want to move of God in your family, in your marriage. If you want God to do things, and let's maybe put some structure in place, some parameters out there, because a river flows much more effectively and much more powerfully when there's structure.
Yeah, those banks.
Where there's parameters. If you don't have those, you just got a marsh, right?
Absolutely. And in that, what you said, don't be too rigid about it. I mean, yeah, you need a schedule, you need a calendar, you need to steward your time. But at the same time, you can't look at everybody and everything that comes up against that as just an interruption that you don't have time for. I know some people that really live so their life is just so planned out and so rigid that if you intrude upon that, you can feel like, okay, I'm in the way here.
Maybe you don't have time for me after all.
Exactly.
Excuse me.
But, I mean, even our family, our spouse.
We do our immediate family. We can treat that way.
Kids, I mean, you can treat them like they're an interruption. Your spouse, if they're really into something, they're trying to get something accomplished. I mean, that we shouldn't make people feel that way.
Yeah.
That we're so, and interruption.
There's always room, for people. There should always be room for the people that God has given you.
Absolutely.
We're doing several things today, and again, we got a FaceTime just a little while ago, and man, it doesn't matter. In the moment, those grandchildren, you get a FaceTime, you're going to stop and
absolutely. You got to have
make all the faces or
there.
blow all the kisses or whatever. But
that's right.
I think that what we're saying is, life does happen. You got to continue. It does need some structure, some parameters. But what we are saying is within that, there has to be some room.
Has to be some flexibility,
for people
people. Stop for those teachable moments with your kids. Man, don't pass those by. Stop for just the moments with your spouse, whether it's just to take time to maybe just stop and text them, or take time to call, or take time to answer a call, or take time, just to
this whole thing with time, we talking earlier, I said it's kind of a generic topic because we hit it all along the way. Again, it's just something that you always are dealing with. I ask people sometimes, what do we do with all our time? We've got phones that we can
with all the
make calls anywhere
and stuff
now.
We have now.
You remember when you used to have to make a phone call and you were tied to that thing, you're tied to that cord?
Oh my goodness!
Some of you younger people don't even know what I'm talking about.
do it now. When my babies were, I remember our kitchen phone was on the wall, you know.
Had
so
like
you
an
don't even know.
18-foot cord.
I was like, well, when we moved there, it was a little short cord, and I couldn't do anything. Had babies, you know, and I'd just be stuck up against the wall with your neck like this, you know, trying to hold the phone and trying to do things. It's like, we got to have a longer cord on this phone.
Then we got a cordless phone, and man, that was really an upgrade. And now we've got phones anywhere, everywhere. So what do we do with all that time that we're not stuck on the wall to a phone?
Yeah.
But it just creates a lot more busyness. And again, if we're not careful, we can eat up the allotted 24 hours that we have, and a lot of things that may not be as important as we think they are. So again, you got to make sure that you're not screaming, I don't have time, at the things that need your time.
Well, as parents, as leaders in our homes, I think you have to look at what you're modeling for your kids. I mean, they're kids that are just spending hours and hours of a day, you know, maybe looking at a phone or maybe just accomplishing nothing, playing a video game, piled up on the couch. And, you know, what are we doing? How productive are we being with the time we have? And even in teaching them about relationships, you know, that they're not to isolate themselves, because I feel like that's what happens with our time. We just kind of get in our own world. Yeah. And we're checking the boxes and we're isolating. You mentioned that
study of 1,500 school-age kids.
Yeah, they were asked what it takes to make a happy family. Yeah. Okay, 1,500 school-age kids. And you know, you could think of a lot of things they would think, you know, more money, more stuff, more, you know, what. And their answer was simply that doing things together as a family, that made a happy family. Having time together, essentially, is what they were saying.
So the question was, what makes a happy family?
Yeah, and they said doing things together as a family. And that, I mean, yeah, that makes tons of sense. But, you know, in our fast-paced life, a lot of times we would think our kids just want more stuff. They want to be in more activities. They want to have more opportunities, when really what they want is you. Yeah. And what they want is your time and doing stuff together.
Yeah, our kids are grown now. And again, we've told this story. You'll hear it over and over. But again, we had a set day that was just for them. And now as they're grown, they talk about those days. They talk about that time and what it meant to them to know that I was taking that day or that evening, that afternoon off. And
right, man, you need time for you set aside so that they know that, man, they feel important, they feel more loved, you know, and just knowing that, hey, this afternoon we got mom and dad, we got mom, we got, you know, whatever your family dynamic is, we have that time together. And, you know, sometimes as parents, we get caught up in, you know, what we can provide for them and stuff and in things as part of the society we live in. But it's not so much that. It's just, you know, what are we doing with them? What are we stopping to take the time to do?
Yeah, and again, the Bible's very clear as far as principally, you know, where Colossians, it talks about being wise, gaining wisdom.
Yeah, making the most of your time.
Ecclesiastes, time.
Oh, I love
season for everything under the sun. You know, knowing the time that you're in, the season that you're in.
Man, and if you have small kids, can I just tell you, understand the season you're in. You know, our kids are grown. My daughters now have our little grandbabies, young ones, and they get tired of hearing me say it, I'm sure. But I'm like, you know, take advantage. Don't miss these moments. When your kids are babies, I know they're driving you crazy and you can't get your laundry done and you can't get, you know, you can't go here and you can't. But that goes by so fast. Yes, it does. It goes by so fast. And know the season you're in. You know, unless...
Wow, you kind of get emotional when it comes to that, don't you?
I do, because I know how quick I need a tissue.
No, maybe, I mean, you missed that time of your life. Maybe we need more kids, right?
Oh, Lord, no. We have grandkids now, baby. I just enjoy my grandkids. No, but I just know, and, you know, and talking with a lot of young mamas, you know, because I was there. Same thing. Even in the things.
Surviving.
Yeah, but even if, you know, heart after God, you know, you're involved in your church, you want to be able to do stuff. And I feel like I'm talking to somebody. You want to be able to do stuff and be a part of what God is doing, you know, you want to be. But right now in this season, that is a good thing. But there's seasons in your life where your ministry is, those babies, first off, husband, family, and, there will be a season.
What about the guys out there that are listening? Same with you.
So true.
They're gonna be grown and gone before you know it.
Yep.
And again, you can rush through life and think that, man, you got to do all these things, but life is brief. The psalmist said, teach us the brevity of our life. Help us to
realize it. Yeah.
Help us to live it with wisdom. So again, it's just something that every one of us face and something that we have to acknowledge. And we're just trying to challenge or encourage you to make sure that you're not just kind of floating through life. You're not just kind of, checking all the boxes and thinking, man, I'm spent. I'm to the hilt. I'm to the max. I'm so busy.
I'm so busy. I'm so busy.
Yeah. That's that is the common phrase that we hear.
Well, it's almost like you're supposed to be busy.
It's like a badge of honor.
Yeah. And we are surely not advocating for laziness. That is not the intent here. You should have a job. You should be working, if you're able in your body. But again, the busyness, man, I think I said it earlier, we can get isolated in that.
Yeah.
Even in a family, huge family, you can just be so isolated, people around you all the time, but you're living in your own world because you're so busy and you're so detached, and it happens in family all the time.
I don't have this stat before me, but one thing I read that was shocking to me, several years ago, I saw this study that how much actual time and meaningful conversation that fathers spent with their children. And it was
it's ridiculous.
It was like seconds or minutes in a day, in a 24-hour day. And I thought, man, I hope I didn't miss all that time raising kids. But again, you never know. You can say, this is what's coming this week, and things interrupt or things change.
So true.
We just had this just recently when our family members in a serious car accident, and again, come away with not many injuries at all, a miracle, but at the same time, it makes you recognize again how quickly life can change.
We've gone, just like the word says.
Yeah, we've gone through tragedy before where you think you got all this time together, and in a moment, things change. So you got to seize the time that you have. You got to live. Ephesians, it says that we got to make sure that we're careful how we live, that we seize the day, seize the opportunity, this time
live
that we're given.
Live with wisdom. Yeah. In that passage too, it says, "Don't act thoughtlessly." Wow. I mean that speaks a lot to me, but understand. What the Lord
time,
wants you to do.
Those little moments in space and time where you spend together. Don't take that for granted. Don't ever walk away from anybody that's valuable to you, that you love. Don't ever walk away from them angry or upset.
It's just not worth it.
It's not worth it because life can change in a moment.
I started to say it a minute ago, people. People are what matter. People, that's what matters to God. And as his child, that has to be what matters to me. People are more important than my stuff I got to do, than my job. I got these little things I think that I have to be a part of, my extracurricular activities that I think I have to be a part of. But people are what should matter.
Yeah, business is an enemy for all of us. And again, I think that's something that we have to consider. So we're just saying that, that ultimately that you put this thing aside of always carrying the mindset, I'm so busy, or wearing that badge of honor that we're so busy. And let's make sure that we have time that is stewarded, that is locked in, that we make sure that we spend time with the people that, again, that we love, that we value. And boy, that's what we need relationally. We're created with that design.
Yes.
Bishop Tony Miller, influential man in my life, he's gone to heaven now, but he always said you spell relationship Time. I
remember him saying that. Yeah. It's so important.
So important. Man, we don't take time sometimes, even with our spouse, the person that God has given us to do life with. We don't take time with our children. And, guys especially, I think they get this mindset where you just got to be, you're talking about being big and bold with these things. We're not talking about, they're having to be the special restaurant or the special
Oh, wait, sure we are.
getaway. Yeah. I love to do that. I like to do that.
That's
but
a good
again,
thing,
that is
but-
not what we're talking about when we're saying, make
Hey,
sure
we've had plenty cheap meals or, it is the time
Yeah. And
always.
if we make sure that we invest time in these relationships that matter the most, it can go so far in creating a healthy home,
That's so
a
true.
healthy marriage.
Healthy families, healthy relationships with other people.
Yeah, no. Sometimes we think it's got to just, got to do something extravagant, but
Yeah.
no, it's time.
right.
It's the
I see it.
time. It's the seconds and the minutes and the hours that we spend that are quality.
Just
And,
being together.
that is so easy to miss out on.
Man, so make time out of the time that you have for the things that are most important, and that's always people and relationships.
Yep.
So busy time of year's coming.
Hey,
Make sure.
busy.
Time.
Let's not let busy consume us, right?
That's right.
Brady Boyd said, don't be addicted to busy. So break out of that.
That was a good book,
And
by the way.
yeah, he addresses that. So let's make sure that we take the time that's needed, necessary. And
Hey, thank you
helpful.
for taking some time with us. We hope the time you took with us makes a difference in the rest of your time,
yeah,
right?
we love you and we thank God
Yeah,
for
we
you
do.
and your
Bless
family.
your family.
Because
That's
your
right.
home matters, right?
Every day. Love
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.